Which K5HL do you like the most? In 2002, Nathan Airchime did away with their intended tuning in preparation for what would become their most sold horn model of all time, the K5HL. This resulted in the number 2 bell being on average of about 380 Hz, and the number 4 bell being about 504 Hz. Why the changes? The most likely explanation is that the existing 1L bell at the time was too flat to be a proper middle C, about 253 Hz on average. Flattening the number 4 made it work as a better octave, and sharpening the number 2 made it a decent perfect fifth for the 1L. Many number 3s in K5HLs were also rather sharp, but this was not intentional. Here's what the earliest K5HLs sounded like. Eventually, around the 48K serial number range, a newly designed 1L bell was created that did play a proper middle C of 261 Hz. This new 1L bell took on the bell design known as raised letter, where the text on the bells heavily protrudes outwards compared to previous designs. The rest of the bells in the K5HL were a mixture of existing narrow font and new raised letter bells that reused the same tuning. Here's what that sounded like. Some number 2 bells were extremely sharp and were pretty much completely on board, resulting in a pitch nearly that of a true G natural. Normally this would create a lot of warble with the older 1L bell, but on the new raised letter 1L it had the opposite effect and actually reduced the warble in the horn. Here's what this more mellow chord sounded like. Finally, we get to the current K5HL tuning. By this point, there are no more narrow font bells, and all bells on the K5HL are raised letter. A rumor has it that during a meeting in 2008 between Micro Precision and the FRA said that horns should sound more aggressive and attention-grabbing, more dissonant to say the least. Micro Precision looked no further than to change the bore depth of the number 2 bell to a rather flat F-sharp. This resulted in a darker sub-minor third interval between the number 1 and number 2 bells, and also formed a tritone with the 1L bell. Here's what that sounded like. Here's what each horn sounds like again. Now that you've heard all the K5HLs, you can go comment